Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. I have to admit that I would probably never play this game if it wouldn't be on PlayStation Plus right now, and even when I installed the game I had no idea what to expect because I never heard about this title before. And believe me, the main reason why I installed the game in the first place was not because I was hoping for HDR. I mean, I was not expecting HDR at all. Therefore I was very surprised when I learned about HDR in this game, and I was even more surprised when I learned how good HDR is actually implemented. So let's keep this a very short video and let's just talk about the pure facts what we have. First of all, this game does not support the PlayStation 5 system level calibration, and that's where I tested the game. So the game is available on all current platforms as far as I'm aware of, but I had just time to test the PlayStation 5 version. And again, this game does not support the PlayStation 5 HDR system level calibration. And if you follow my channel for a long time, you know that this is not a problem at all if we have proper HDR settings in the game. But this is the only downside what we have in Deliver Us Mars, because we have actually no settings in regards of HDR at all. So let's start talking about the HDR implementation in more detail, and I would say we're starting with the black level floor. So regardless if you play a game in HDR or SDR or even you watch a movie, a reference black level floor is crucial for a good picture quality. And in the case of Deliver Us Mars, we're talking about a reference black level floor. Even you play the game in HDR, we're talking about one of the best HDR implementation in regards of the black level floor what I have seen for a very long time. I mean, Alan Wake 2 was pretty good and actually is still a reference example actually. This one is actually on the same level, on the very same level. This is just a perfect HDR black level floor which lays the foundation actually for a great HDR implementation. So let's move on and let's talk about specular highlights. Let's talk about maximum peak brightness and specular highlights, and here we have the only downside in regards of the HDR implementation. The maximum peak brightness and specular highlights is limited to 1000 nits and there is nothing you can do about it. But let me make one thing very clear. Just because the maximum peak brightness is limited to 1000 nits in specular highlights, that doesn't mean that the HDR implementation is bad. No, quite the opposite, because we're still talking about a reference HDR black level floor. That means the contrast in this game is just on an amazing level, even on screen TVs with a much higher maximum peak brightness capability of 1000 nits. So let's talk about HDR colors used in games, and lately we have seen a lot of AAA games where actually exactly this feature is lacking a lot, because most of the games they're still just using SDR color space, which again I like to make this very clear. That doesn't mean the picture looks bad, but we have now TVs and they can produce a lot of more colors, but it's hardly used. In this case, I just like to share this one. This is just amazing. The whole picture is actually, or almost the whole picture, is using the DCI-P3 color space, and we have even some BT 2020 color space in use here. This is a prime example how a HDR game should use HDR color space. Okay my friends, in summary, I'm very impressed with the HDR implementation in this game, and again I was not expecting any HDR in the first place at all, because that's how it is, because I just learned my lesson many times. Anyway, so if you're looking for a very nice game with a great story and actually fantastic music and on top fantastic HDR, Deliver Us Mars is exactly what you should try out. So again, I just tested the PlayStation 5 version. I'm not quite sure about any HDR implementation on the PC version or Xbox. I would just assume it is the same as on the PlayStation 5, but again, because I can't test it, I can't verify it, okay? So do me a favor, if there's any difference in regards of HDR, put it in the comment section and let me know how do you like this game. Thank you very much for watching me, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.